As I was saying, you can use this map to label the one in front. If you'd like to really help your history journal be complete. All right, let's go to some of the pages. We started with Eric the Red, and you can see David colored the picture really well, and he wrote the sentence, Eric the Red leaves father, sails to Greenland. And he put a really big line there for the period. So if there's anything in any of these pages, here's the next one. Leif enters the king's court. Leif discovers North America around 1000 AD. David, nope, that's David's name. Leif sends first colonists, and we put a little arrow there, to the New World. And it kind of got tucked in there because I had to put it into the folder. But he did finish that one. Then this is his picture of a Viking house and Viking ships. Now, this is one that I wrote on. David, you could go in and trace this. Boys and girls, anyone else, if you have something in your history journal that you haven't traced, that it's only my writing, you'll want to trace that. Or if you desire, you could even take your eraser and erase my writing and then write it in yourself. Take a look at the next page. I think this was when David was out of town. So he did not finish writing this. What should be on here is Vikings return to their home in Greenland. And then he could color this page and write the little story or the sentence story on there. So I wrote him a little note in his journal that says, do that. Okay, let's take a look at the next page. Now, behind each section, I've made, we talked about the maps and we looked at them, and we've pointed out the voyages on our globe, on our flat maps many times, but we haven't had a page in our history journal yet about the maps. So I decided to put them into the history journal, and you'll be able to read and follow and see the maps. Eric the Red and Leif Erikson's voyages. And if you'll note here, originally people's last names, they didn't have last names. And we talked about that. Eric the Red was named Eric the Red. Why? Do you remember? Joggle your brains a little bit. Remember? Because he was very angry. He had a big hot temper. He definitely was a redhead. And in real life, his hair was somewhat red, as the literature, the history indicates. But he definitely was an angry man, and that was one reason why he had to leave Scandinavia and go to Iceland, and then he went from Iceland to Greenland. So, as you can see here. And he made his home on Greenland. Anyway, but Eric didn't have a last name at first. He was Eric's son. And that's why there are two S's written here, Eriksson. And still, people who are from Iceland and Greenland, I happen to know some have some personal friends, and they have last names very similar to this because it dates back to their ancient ancestors when people didn't have last names, but they were the son of Eric or the son of Leif or the son of Bjorn. So their last name became Bjornsson. And then eventually it changed if they came to the United States. So Eriksson is written like this, and then it has the apostrophe S because it's Eric the Red and Leif Erikson's voyages. All right, take a look at those. You can look at them down here in this map too. I'm just going to keep going in David's. Then we move to Columbus. So David has written Columbus was born in Genoa, Italy in 1451. Make sure on these that you've colored the page, that you've written your history sentence, that you started with a capital letter, and that you've ended with a punctuation mark. Most of these are just going to have periods. And if there are any more in here. Like if there's a part you haven't colored, you might want to go back in and color those. But David has done such a great job. I'm sorry some of it's getting cut off because it's in the notebook, but you can still see. Wanted to keep going with this. His coloring is beautiful. He's written it, his history sentences really well. And then you'll see at the end of Columbus, there's also the map of his voyages that we've talked about, and we've looked at other maps, but this is a flat one to show you the different trips that Columbus made back and forth from Europe to the New World, or to Hispaniola and Haiti, what's now called Haiti. Then we move on to Pocahontas. So I think David has finished every single one of his, except for that one, and I believe he was absent. And I'm getting to this last one. The last page that we've completed says Pocahontas meets the King and Queen of England. Finally, there's a map of John Smith's voyages from England to Jamestown, and of John Rolfe and Pocahontas' trip back to England. So you can take a look at those. And then we're ready to start our new pages. And I will read the new book of Jamestown to you. Let me get it right here. I'll be reading this to you next week. And, or this week, whenever you're watching. And we'll start with this picture called John Smith's Coat of Arms, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Then I've gone ahead and included in your history journal all the rest of the pages that you'll need for the time being. Hopefully, by the time we finish these, we'll be back in school. If not, I will give you some more to put in your history journal. I will, let's take a look at that. Oh, I think I videotaped this wrong, but I'm not going to start over. Anyway, hopefully that gives you an idea of some of the things I've been working on the last few days to get things ready for you. And look forward to hearing the story of Jamestown. Bye for now.